Yesterday, I come home from my grocery shopping to see that there is a new engine, new studio name, basically, and multiple new Halo projects in the works. And there's a lot of people that think that I might be super hyped for this news, as one of the few people that was kind of positive on Halo in recent years, but I am still somewhat not sure. Like, if you don't know what exactly I'm talking about, like in detail, the long and short of it is that the Halo World Championship, formerly 343 Industries, announced that all future Halo titles are going to be developed using Unreal Engine 5, and they are shifting their studio name to Halo Studios. And there's a lot more in the Xbox Wire article about how they're improving efficiency and changing how they do things and new leadership. Cautious optimism is the most perfect word for this whole thing. And something that a lot of people aren't talking about is not only the state of this new 343, if you will, but also Xbox, the people that hold the Halo IP. You might know me as the Xbox guy. And Xbox is kind of, I felt, was moving on from Halo. And this is news that is super welcomed because of that. And the past couple years at their summer showcases, Halo was nowhere to be found. And so with all the new Call of Duty and Blizzard and everything that they now have, I was really worried Xbox is going to be just leaving behind Halo. But this is a very welcome piece of news on that front. And I don't mean that just because of the multiple projects, but it's also the branding that is 343 Industries. That is now a name that even if a new Halo project gets announced, it will always have people second guessing it and being super skeptical because of just the name 343 Industries. As I personally was not somebody that was super on that bandwagon of a hate train and fire 343. I 100% understand it. But I felt like 343 was finally getting there. And then what did Xbox do after Halo Infinite happened? They really gutted them. They took out, I think, like all the leadership that was in charge of 343 for many years are now gone. Like, this is a new 343. And it being rebranded kind of really helps to make people think that, you know, even just for the people that follow 343 Industries, like I know, you might know, but the general masses doesn't. So this new name, Halo Studios, is perfect. But a lot of people are more so hyped about this graphical showcase that they did. Very understandably, you know, like we are now seeing what is Halo in the Unreal 5 engine. And it is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I love it. It looks stunning. It's just these graphics and representations of things, it's great to see. I just want to see it actually in practice. And I also care more about the studio, how this is going to change their situation. Halo's biggest problem the past, I would say, 4 years, relevance. Halo hasn't had a spin-off, a new announcement of a big major kind, or anything. Unreal 5 is an engine that is pretty much staple through the whole industry now. And so it's going to really help to bring people onto the project, which I'm sure everybody's saying. But the thing that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, Microsoft's really annoying hiring structure. And I keep wanting to say 343. Halo Studios is going to still be under that thumb of contractors. Contractors that are going to be hired to work there for a year and a half or 18 months, and then whatever happens, happens. And that just doesn't feel great. Even with this Unreal change, yeah, it's going to help to recruit more people, but how long are they going to be there? I was really curious about this, so I looked into basically everybody that was featured in this vidoc that they did, which, by the way, I love the vidoc. Everybody that was featured in that vidoc, almost everybody, has a like 3 or 4 year plus history at 343. A lot of them actually have a long history with Microsoft, but yeah, they all have a lot of history with 343, which probably you hearing that concerns you. Like, I don't want anybody from 343 working on this game. The problem at 343 was never the talent. It was never the talent. It was always the management and the structure of things. There are some of the most talented developers in the world at 343, but they just didn't know what they were doing, what they were working towards, and contractors probably like, all right, I'm just going to finish my thing and get out of here. So when Microsoft cleaned house in January 2023, that was the lowest point, I would argue, for the Halo community in a very long time. And it might have been for the better. We have a new studio head as well as other leadership now that's handling their own things. And as Pierre Hines, the new studio head, says, we want a singular focus. Everyone is in this place, is here to make the best possible Halo games. That's what it's all for. The general manager was in this thing as well as other people. Like, there's those people that are still going to handle some like the Halo IP stuff, whether it's a franchise or a show or whatever. But for the most part, this is a studio that feels much more focused on making great Halo games, which is also what Xbox is kind of wanting their studios to do in general. And this sounds like a 343 that might be embracing that. Just more efficiency, a new recipe. The 3 ingredients of this recipe, what are they? Unreal 5, obviously. This preparation and onboarding, though, that they did with Project Foundry, which was a really cool concept, by the way. Project Foundry, it's not going to be a game, but it's not a tech demo either. It's like a small project that the studio did to kind of get familiar with the engine, to practice with it, to build things that they could actually use for games. And it seems like it might have been done in the 6-month time span because the new art director proposed it, and he was hired in January of this year. So it seems like a project that they did this year. More to say on that maybe, but another time. The second ingredient is to do more, say less. One of the biggest issues that 343 had was they made so many promises that just weren't kept. They would overpromise, underdeliver. But if you pay attention to how Halo Infinite has been going for the back half of its life cycle, they've kind of embodied that. They've kind of been doing this thing where we don't want to announce anything early or say anything and make people think, that's going to come. We're just going to announce stuff happening because it is happening, and then it's pretty much probably happening tomorrow or next month. They have been in that cadence since about the start of January 2023. And you know what happened about then? New leadership came in. This is great. Like, that's actually what I hope. Just under-promise, over-deliver. Talk about stuff when you have something to talk about. Otherwise, we're going to be left wondering, but they're cooking. And the third and final ingredient is the one that has me the most excited, personally. Multiple teams on individual projects. Halo Infinite was kind of a all hands on deck situation, which sounds great, and it can be if they were unified, but they were not. Halo Infinite had like multiple teams all kind of doing just separate builds of the game. They were not unified at all. They were all kind of trying to pitch a different version of the game and couldn't really agree, and they didn't know what each other were doing, and it was like multiple teams. It was almost hindering it, having everyone work together. But now it's like, okay, we're going to have individual projects that separate teams handle. And that's great because that means multiple Halo things are in the works all the time. How do you think Obsidian does it at Xbox? I feel like 343 going to Halo Studios took a good look at Obsidian. Obsidian does that exact thing. They have multiple teams releasing games, making games, and those games have been reviewing great, and they have released something basically every year or every other year. That is how a big AAA studio can really stay relevant. How will the quality of the games be? We'll see, but I just think that's great for the relevance problem that Halo has. And what those multiple projects could be, I personally am just wait and see. I was on the fence about Halo CE being one of them. I personally didn't like the idea. I would rather them just keep pressing forward because I thought Infinite was a great step in the right direction. But maybe like a CE remake could be good to just practice the engine. I don't know. I feel like CE, we're good, but whatever. I think those leaks about Combat Evolved being remade, funny enough, if you look at those came about in June this year, and the art director came on in January. The art director pitched this project, Foundry, which was making Halo stuff in Unreal 5. And these Halo things have the model of Halo 1 Chief. And a lot of people have come to believe, okay, that basically confirms it's real. What if it was just for this Foundry project and they just wanted to use that model to practice? And maybe that's where Tom Warren or whoever leaked it got it from, you know? Obviously, one of the multiple projects, though, is the next Halo. That's the one I'm personally most excited about. And a hopeful one that I personally have is just one of those individual teams could be a partner team. They work with certain affinity or other people to make a game with another studio, like Mojang kind of does for Minecraft. Halo Wars 3, that's all I'm saying. I would bust a nut. This whole thing just installs so much hope in Halo fans that I couldn't be more excited to see how it goes, but very cautious about expecting. You know, I don't want to expect anything. We have to see how it goes. But everything outlined in the Xbox Wire, in the behind the scenes, and said by Pierre Hines at the Halo Championship, it just kind of bodes well. The thing is, they really have to incorporate what made the Halo games so great. Because all the 343 campaigns, especially, were missing a really big element that was not in them. And if you want to know what that is, watch this video. But what do you think about Halo Studios? Good name? Bad name? Chapter 3? What's one of the multiple projects? Let me know in the comments.